Let's talk for a minute about my unhealthy love of ferrules on pencils. Hello, everyone. A hopefully brief video today to discuss my love for ferrules on pencils. And I realize that it probably places me somewhere on the spectrum when I admit to an obsession with parts of objects. But I have enough self awareness to know this is not a normal thing. But one of the things I love about pencils is the variety of ferrules that one finds on pencils, especially vintage pencils, because modern pencils tend to have very standard, boring ferrules and a few different designs that are used over and over and over again on modern pencils. But a box of vintage pencils made over a number of years um, will exhibit a wide array of ferrules. Now, for those of you who stumbled on this video accidentally and you're not a pencil person, you don't really care. Well, I guess maybe I'm sad for you that you stumbled onto this video, but also the ferrule is the bit, usually metal, that goes on the end of a pencil and holds the eraser in place for pencils that are so equipped. If it has an eraser, it will almost always, not in all cases, but most of the time will have a ferrule holding it on. And it has been the case for most of the last century or more that ferrules tend to be made of metal. At one point, they were mainly brass. Now, aluminum or some other alloys are used. Whatever happens to be a cheap metal does the job. There have been time periods that we will discuss in which other materials were used for various reasons. Let's actually, right off the bat, let's look at one of those. So here we have an advertising pencil. This was for a high school, it appears. And based on the graphic, we can see it's a basketball player or part of a basketball player. This has been worn away quite a bit. We can see part of a date here. I believe that says 1942. Basketball schedule, 1942. Normal community high school, possibly. But notice the ferrule on this is not metal. Already we have one that varies from the standard. This one appears to be very hardened cardboard or possibly a painted paper or even a plastic. It's very hard to tell. Maybe one of you can tell by looking at it. I'm going to say that's paper. That was then painted. But 1942, of course, America's entrance in and ramping up production of armaments for World War II, and metal was not available for pencil manufacturers. So here we see a pencil manufacturer that is using a material other than metal to affix the eraser, which all of the erasers here are going to be rock hard because they are old, and that's what happens to rubber. So, great example because we have a date, belongs to a high school. They printed their basketball schedule on it, various locations in Illinois, apparently. So we have a date, we have a ferrule that fits for that time period. So, terrific example, neat pencil. What else do we have here? Here's another one with a different type of ferrule. That's clearly cardboard or paper there. Rudolph APER Hartsburg, Illinois. So also another 1940s pencil likely. Different variety. We have a plastic ferrule here. This is from my state, Cincinnati, Ohio. Maintenance tools, James R. Macbeth. Mark Bright Avenue in Cincinnati. I'm going to assume that's a telephone exchange. Telephone number. Pullers, sockets, wrenches. So we have, again, probably 1940s plastic or whatever. Bakelite, I'm not sure what was in use during those that time period. I know we had plastics, so probably a plastic ferrule holding that on. Interesting to me. But your standard metal ones also came in a interesting and amazing variety. These are all going to have a patina and filth on them from age, but just look at the difference here. Which one would you prefer topping your pencil? If they were both equally clean. It looks like brass. Could be wrong, but it looks like brass to me. Maybe it's just me. Maybe you don't see the fascination. That one could be early aluminum. It's dirty. Certain manufacturers would use distinctive colored bands to identify their pencils. This is a advertising pencil. They must have paid extra to have that band put on there that goes along with their coloring. Century Genetics, Shawano, Wisconsin. Try to put these somewhere where they won't keep falling. This one fell down. He wants to volunteer. What is this? It's for a left-hander. Oh, that's fun. Brown's Shamrock Linens Limited. Household linens and handkerchiefs. 78 Franklin Street, New York, New York. That's fun, but we're here for the ferrule. Let's take a look here. Good patina on that, but a ferrule very distinctive from one you would see today. Too bad there's not a humane way to remove ferrules from pencils. Would it be odd to have a bucket full of severed ferrules? Probably. Advertising pencil for diamond crystal salt. Makes good food taste better. No ferrule, just a painted end. There's an attractive example as well. They all have certain similarities, and most of the ones I've shown so far I think have been punctured. They have been affixed by crimping, in which there have been puncture marks, but I didn't mention it on this possibly aluminum one. That one looks glued on. Has a cleaner, seamless kind of, I don't know, a more attractive, smooth, streamlined look when it's glued rather than punctured. To aid New York Guild for the Jewish Blind. Some pencils, if all you saw was the ferrule, you would immediately know what you were looking at. Ticonderoga, of course. This looks like a colored metal. Or is it plastic? That might be plastic. The crimping here is very regular. It's like kind of triangular shaped. What is this? Sweet and Canterbury Seed Company. Seeds, fertilizers for farm, garden, and lawn. Interesting. Oh, here's a curious one. Pedigree. I've seen pedigree before. Anchored lead. I'll do a video on the different name designations for the bonding process they use to manufacture their pencils, but looks like it has very architectural kind of look to it. Columns or some such, but that appears to be painted on. Very unique ferrule, green eraser. That would have been a snazzy looking pencil in its day, and it still is. All right, let's get down to this fella. I think in a previous video I showed some Dixon election pencils. Here we have a Thornbur's election pencil. Thornbur I'm not familiar with. I don't know if that's the name of the manufacturer or that's who ordered these pencils. It looks very similar to the Dixon election pencils. This one appears to be factory sharpened and still has a bit of the string left, although it's been severed. So rather than a ferrule holding an eraser, it's a modified ferrule holding a string that would tie the pencil to the polling booth, the polling station. So you don't walk off with it when you steal. Only the people you elect are supposed to be doing the stealing, right? So here's another glued on ferrule. Has a cleaner look to it. What is this? Reading and Writing and Radio. Sangamon State University? Sangamon, I'm not sure how that's pronounced. Often with colored pencils you find a cap rather than a eraser, so they still took the trouble and expense of putting a bit of metal at the end, but there's no eraser being held on because it's a colored pencil, which often is not erasable. Very nice Wallace motif. Terrific graphics there. Try not to make this interminable, but I want to show a few of the particularly nice looking ferrules. Are you starting to see the attraction? Maybe you never will. Maybe you have to be wired like me. Sheets Company, Morticians. It's probably lead lined like their caskets. Different look here. Probably have to see them side by side to get a sense for the variety that I'm referring to here. Let me just grab a few and you can see closer up what I am talking about. That's variety that you will not see in a batch of pencils produced today. When Junior goes to school and pulls pencils for the first time out of Junior's pencil case, first day of school, they will not have nearly the variety here, and they won't be as nice looking, and then their pencil quality will not be nearly as good as these advertising pencils from the last century. Love it. I could go on forever, but I won't do that to you. But just wanted to talk a little bit about ferrules and how much I love interesting ferrules on pencils. If you're looking through a batch of pencils and you want to kind of gauge the age of the pencils, the ferrule is the place you want to be looking, because that will often tell you a lot of information about how old the pencils are. Because it is true, they just don't make them like they used to. I appreciate you watching. Maybe this didn't help you understand my unhealthy attraction to pencil ferrules, but if you watched this far, I appreciate it anyway. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you here again next time.